Melissa, I'm really glad I have you on here, and I'm excited to hear your story, your travels from Detroit to Miami. First question I have for you, though, is how did you get started in techno music in Detroit?
Hi, everybody. I'm Melissa. I'm originally a Detroiter. Got it tattooed here. Detroit techno is a mecca from our city. And when I was a university student, I did street team and that means you go to clubs and you pass out flyers. And then I realized I could do this for myself with my own team. And then after years of developing, we started hosting after hours in the warehouses. And you'd have to opt into an event page. And then you would receive the location 5 hours before the show. So a lot of the things I've been hosting around the city have been exclusive. And that's grown us into an agency now. So we have 37 international artists and 3 podcasts a week. And we stay busy.
So these events when you were in the city of Detroit were pretty much clandestine, right? You wouldn't let people know until 5 hours before, so that because a lot of these places were empty warehouses. Is that right?
Yeah, we had facilitation to host events, based on licensing, and we had studios at the time when the Russell was moving. Now most of it's closed down. Before the pandemic, there was issues with the ownership. Anyone from Detroit already knows that story, but we'd host events in art studios and then we'd make it an experience. So for the Day of the Dead, we had all of these battery powered candles that went down the hallway. So you weren't really sure where you're going. You're just following candles. And all of a sudden you go to this big room of like 1,000 feet of spider web. So I've been able to take that same concept and now grow it to a scale of festivals and parties simultaneously in Colombia and Miami, and I do it all through the internet and making people have jobs and responsibilities, and that's how we formulated this crew.
Well, it's a big difference between living in Detroit and living in Miami, though, isn't it?
Miami is more open. There's a lot more things to do, but we do have a curfew, so everything shuts down at midnight. That's a rule. But then they can open back up at 6 a.m. So a lot of times on the weekends, the clubs will go for 10 or 18 hours, and that will be the thing. And they respect the rules. You have to stay within your table, and when you're not in your table, you have to wear your mask and social distance. So it's been an interesting way of trying to still earn and do it during a pandemic. Not everybody can do it, but we're throwing something to see if it works.
Well, and again, you have to be flexible with this, and especially when you're talking about a club culture that's mostly after hours. I commend you on, number one, making the move to Miami because it's warm, and number two, being able to pull this off when most people cannot. So that's a testament to you and your ability to change with the current conditions. So, what kind of feedback are you receiving with your new venture down in Miami?
We'll get some interesting stories on Instagram where people will be like, well, how do I get involved in the next one? Or when's the next one's coming? Or they'll reach back and they'll learn more about me and hear my story. Because many times in social media, everything is profile facing. Like 90% of the people only know what you look like because of your profile picture. So almost every person that meets me has no idea that I have a condition or a disability or a disease. So when they meet me and they realize that I facilitated all of this, even with other things I have to do for my health, they are drawn to being near us more because they think that the energy is just this beautiful, positive light during a situation where everyone's inside. They can't go out. They can get takeout. They can do a thing, but then they have this one moment where they're like, wow, we can dance a little bit and be respectful to people.
So what are you saying, Melissa, that even with a disability, people have no excuse? And you're a person that people should look up to and say, look, if she can do this, I can do this too. And I think a lot of people need to hear that story because it's too easy to go, oh, woe is me. I'll never be able to do that, when the whole idea is anyone can do it. And you are a prime example that you're making things happen in a time when there's so many different challenges, not even personal challenges, so many different challenges in the world, and you're making this stuff happen. Now I got to highlight something. This is my commercial break because I know you have a GoFundMe going right now, And I want you to highlight that, because that's what this is about. Is we only scratch the surface on who you are, but your GoFundMe, and if you could tell us the web address so that we can get people to fully understand what it is that you do and some of the things that you need.
Yes, okay, the commercial break. So I'm a person that was born with a disease called sacral genesis. So the entire lower piece of my sacrum is missing. There's nothing there, like where your tailbone should be. All of that's missing. So my hips are dislocated, and I don't have any feeling below my waist. So for 15 years of my life, I was in a wheelchair with full body braces, surgeries, physical therapy, missed a lot of school. I don't really know how I got through it, but I got through up here mentally, which I think is what matters these days. And so I've been using all these adaptive pieces of equipment. So here's my crutches, and they're full of paint because I am a painter and I don't care. And the bottoms of the crutches are worn out because I dance a lot, and I do have ways to replace these, but it's expensive. So there's a gal that I met at university. I was in the engineering program, and she graduated just recently, so I was before her. She designed me a lightweight forearm crutch, and it's made out of carbon fiber. And so these are 3.9 pounds, and the new crutch is 0.9 pounds. So can you imagine the difference in this piece of your body every day? When I put a book bag on and my dog and my groceries, by the time I enter a door of where I'm going, I'm exhausted. And then you have to add the emotional part of what my job is, which is communications and leadership. It's just the longevity of my life didn't make sense. So we found a printing company that wants to print them for us, and they're going to charge us a less amount for the prototyping. Miami's flying over right now. And we found legal aid to make a patent for us. So if it is something that works, and it works really well, we want to be able to have other people like me to be able to have it, because we're limited. There's really they're like accessories for us. But in this industry, there's not many accessories. There's only like one or two. So we want to make disability sexy. So my GoFundMe, it's on my Instagram, which is Missy DI, MISSYDI. It's easier just to click the link in the bio versus me reading off the letters. I don't know. What do you think?
I think it is. And we're going to put that below this. When we put the interview up online, we'll put the link to the GoFundMe amongst a couple links with you as well. But so where are you in the process with the GoFundMe campaign for the crutches?
So our patent was submitted a week ago on the 15th, which is amazing. This has been almost an 18-month journey. And we don't want it to be like their most president project, because we're entrepreneurs and we don't have a lot to offer. We just have a really good story that could change mobility. So we named the crutch the Dimitri Sky. So we've got that patent now pending, because it's like walking on clouds. That's what we're going to say. It's going to be like moving around like a little angel spirit or something. So the printing starts February 1st. And there's already folks from my warehouse space at the Russell that want to print my second and third and fourth pair. So once the prototypes are done, they want to try different materials. So now that people see it, they send me stories like, my daughter has cerebral palsy, or my husband's a veterinarian who's now quad. So the story has actually led to other stories of me kind of walking people through this and giving them strength and aspiration, and like telling them like, it's okay. Shut your phone off in airplane mode. Take 5 minutes in the bathroom to breathe. Just because you look different and you have a physical disability doesn't mean they don't have a mental disability. So you don't really know what other people are going through. Like in my TEDx talk, I say your body is just something that moves you in between rooms. Like a lot of times you're not even sharing people your energy in your body anymore. You're sharing people your energy with your spirit and your words. So I always try to only push out positivity, even though I don't feel always good. I'm always just like, I can't put out bad, because that deflects. It's a mirror. So with the situation I have moving, if I need to take a break, I'll tell everybody, I need to sit down for 10 minutes. I'm not afraid to take care of myself anymore. And I think people need to learn how to do that.
Well, two things. You mentioned the TEDx talk, and I will make sure I put the link along with this interview as well, because it's a really good TEDx talk. And you were the keynote. Charlie had you as the keynote in Detroit, TEDx. So there's that. The other question I have for you is 3.9 pounds to 0.9 pounds. How much more dancing can you do with those?
Well, I guess that just depends on who my dance partner is and if they can keep up because
Roger did it backwards and heels. Is that what you're telling me?
yeah, there's a lot of factors based on that. Like who are we out with, what's the music like? With the different terraces, like when I'm traveling abroad, they don't have ADA in Colombia. There's no such thing as ADA in Indonesia. So if I'm trying to walk, I really have to be very careful with where I step because slippery weather, snow, sand, nobody really thinks about this. I'm just coming around, but it's actually a mental struggle with my mind all day. It's just a battle. Like, keep going.
Well, it's second nature, right? What it's innate. That's what you have to deal with, the obstacles on a daily, just in daily life. So, hey, I got to switch gears on you for a second. What's techno in Detroit compared to techno in Miami?
Well, if I can be honest, yeah, I was going to say, techno in Detroit is the culture. So the people that are putting it on in the city of Detroit, there's like a whole community. It's like driven based off of, okay, this person's playing, well, all these people are going to go. Techno in Miami is very flashy, where it's $1,200 tables just to sit down and you only get your table for an hour. They come to party. So they come just to have a good time and then they fly out. When you fly to Detroit, it's a culture, it's an experience. It's like weird places. It's not your usual club where you have to know somebody like it is in Miami. And that's one thing I'm learning about business is to not just put myself in one audience. Like I can throw parties in different cities, but just know what they want and how to organize it, because I could not take the same concepts for Miami and apply them to Detroit. It wouldn't work.
No, it wouldn't. No, it's definitely a different scenario with the two. But hey, one other thing with your techno, because I know you do this as well. You're doing it's almost like a performance art as well, right? You're painting live in front of audiences. Can you tell us a little more about that and how that came about?
Yeah, that's one of my favorite pieces about living in Miami now, is because you have to keep moving with social distancing. So when you're dancing, with having art in front of it, people want to see what I'm doing. So every weekend now I'm going to events and I'm live painting. I'm live painting next to the DJ. I'll paint like 30 pieces in one night. I'm like exhausted. And then I'll give them away, or if someone wants to buy them, which I would prefer them to buy, but they just get so drawn to it. I'm just like, here, okay, this is the memory for you. And now that's led for me to do open painting at the warehouses in Wynwood. So on the weekends, on Saturdays, I show up at 10:30 in the morning and I live paint. And all these people are just walking by, taking my pictures, scanning my QR code, learning where I'm from. And that's opened so many doors to people like filmmakers and documentary folks that are just like, we really want to get your story out, especially with this time in the world. Somebody needs something to gravitate to, and you're out here doing it. So people are now waiting for me in the Wynwood walls, because we're going to create a mural, or like a really big mural of my face and my eyes, and my Instagram is going to be on it. But it's going to be a remembrance of me in Miami and what I've done for Miami, because I'm doing a lot down here. Even though I'm not getting paid for it, it's more of a community thing. I'm doing it because I want people to feel happy. They're flying here. They need something. In Detroit, I have an art gallery at Great Lakes Coffee in Midtown. So I have something there that people see and remember me. So I'm leaving myself in these different places in the world. And that's what I think is how you leave a legacy that people can follow that's positive.
So on that note, I have to highlight the painting behind you. And can people contact you on your Instagram or your Facebook if they're interested? See how it just keeps coming up? See how that works, Melissa? It's called marketing. Wait, give me the forearm. Give me the forearm. There we go. There's the forearm. There's the painting. How can people get a hold of you?
Yeah. So the best way to reach me is Instagram, because I just facilitate times where I block out my day. Like I do phone calls this time, I do web this time, I do Instagram this time. So I don't like to always be like drawn to one thing. I like to have my time balanced. So my channel for my personal self is Missy DI. For my art, it's Missy DI _artist. And then, I'm very active on Instagram. You can send me a direct message and I'll respond back. I have all these blogs that I wrote over time on disability awareness, on education, on time management, on college. Like, I've done all of it. I've gone to school, I've opened my own business, I have all these things moving for me, but I still have a condition that takes more of my time. So that's why I have a lot of strength. I'm a soldier, because even when someone has all the time and all the ability in the world, I'm still have it's like having almost another person. Like, if your body says no, okay, then you have to sit down. And that's it. It does hurt a lot of relationships in my life, because they don't necessarily understand it at first. But then after a while, and they get to know, oh my gosh, that she might look like she has it together, but she has a whole 14 surgeries. I've been holistic for 7 years. I haven't taken a drug for pain or anything in 7 years. I don't know anybody that can actually have as much mental power to say, it's not pain, it's just a mindset. And then go stare at something for an hour, right? Meditate, and then refresh. That's my ticket. That's my key. That's how I do it. When there's something wrong, I just stop for an hour and take a moment. And I think that's powerful.
Well, and on that note too, how can people find out about your performances? Because I know we talked about the art and we talked about how we can get you on Instagram. Is there a direct link to upcoming performances you're doing? And you're mentioning you're all over the world, so we want to find out where you're going, right? So.
Yeah, it's with a life as an artist, I'm sure you know, we don't always have a game plan. We kind of flow. So I'm living in Miami in a unit that's already furnished. So when I'm ready to go, I just put everything in my car and go. So I live like a minimalist, 2 suitcases and a dog, and my art. So when people want to track me, they go to my blog, which is my first and last name, melissadevitri.com. When people want to support us or be involved in the agency, it's an all-lady agency, but we have 37 artists, and those are mostly male-driven, so I think it evens out. Everyone's from everywhere. They all speak different language. Most of them don't speak English, which is crazy, but we work it out. And that's ditechno.live. And that's what's exciting is I keep hitting all the barriers. When I lived in Colombia, I didn't speak any Spanish. Yo aprender en la calle. I learn on the street. I'm a street thinker because of Detroit, right? So now I speak fluent Spanish, 5 years of it. But it's like I like to constantly challenge myself, because if I pass away tomorrow or my spirit ends tomorrow, I know I did everything I wanted to do. I didn't wait to do that thing. I did the whole thing.
That's a pretty good statement right there. That should be inspirational for other people who say they can't, right?
Like, let's go, guys. Like, today is Thursday. You know, it's 2021. Let's do it. I'm always excited about something, even if it's not really anything. Just like, what?
All right. So I have to ask, you mentioned it earlier, and I wanted to circle back to this. What are some of your favorite stories about techno in Detroit?
Oh, my goodness. Well, I was on the street team for Pax and How, went with the Movement Festival for a while. I was a street team leader, and I interviewed artists as they came in and checked in. So I was able to meet every single person that came into the event, interview them, become personal with them, give them, you know, whatever things they need, artist wristbands. And I immediately knew they don't know me so well, but they already trusted my skill. So that was like a first click in my head, like, this is going to be something I work in. And I was 20 years old. And the same weekend, I was flying back from Italy. I was on a study abroad trip for university, and I flew with Richie Houghton, who is Windsor, Detroit techno. And it was funny because he comes in and he's like, I think you're on my flight from Europe. And I was like looking all cool for a second. And it was just made everyone like, wait, where were you? You didn't tell us you were going to Italy. We would have, we would have gave you more time to check in, because I was there at like 8 a.m. But being able to see how everything works behind the scenes, but then also being like a person likes to go dancing, and, there are a lot of underground collectives happening still. I've seen see a couple go through the group chats. It's parties like I'm not sure if it's okay to say on TV, but it's in a porn shop. But it's not a real porn shop. You walk through it, and all of a sudden there's a humongous room for techno. So they hide all of these things, but then it's an experience. It's just like, what's going on? I've never seen this before. And same for these parties that are in the warehouse. You've got to park in the back alley and then go through that one door, and you don't know what you're doing, but you're excited because it's a thrill, and you know when you get inside it's going to be like this amazing face.
So you're liking the leather is what you're saying.
I think that if I could compare the techno that I hear now, I would hands down say Medellin is the pioneer, because they are allowed to do stuff. They can throw parties in the mountains. They can throw events. And I went to a techno festival in a soccer stadium there, and I go there every year. It's the third largest techno festival in the world, Freedom. And they interviewed me, Thump, on their. So it's all connected. Everything I do has some connection to something somewhere, and that's why I do it. That's where my head's at.
Well, you're Detroit's ambassador for techno.
That's a high move to say. That's true.
It is. I think you own it, though. There you go.
Yeah, we do a good job marketing. We work with the Charivari Festival as well. I was a marketing director for TAD last year, and they had the largest virtual festival on Mixcloud last year. So now they're progressing, and I think it's going to become more exclusive because anyone can get online and make a mix. But if you have a label and a team and graphics and supporters, that's what's going to set you apart as like the motivated, driven one versus just the one that does it just because they want to do it. I don't know. There's all these factors that go into it.
Well, your Detroit street cred helps a lot, doesn't it?
Being a honey in Detroit and being able to put up with the mentalities of living downtown. I lived at Grand Circus Park for 7 years, and I had an office in the Broderick, and I had a gallery in Hamtramck. You learn how to handle all the different personalities, from the street personalities to the corporate, to the artists, to the university kids, to the art people. It's a melting pot, right? Just in our little bubble.
Well, just surviving movement alone puts you at the top of the class.
And for people that don't know movement, which is like, you don't know what that is. It's a music festival that happens at the River, Hart Plaza, and it's usually during Memorial Day weekend, and they fly people from all over the world. But people come for movement, but they actually come for the parties, because the parties is where it's at. They have parties on buses and in clubs and the casinos and private things, and that's where you actually get to meet the artists, where you can actually get to know the person. And I think that's the key, is when someone's coming to movement and you have a label, you should throw a party at a rooftop or something, because that helps you get your name out in Detroit.
Oh, it definitely does. Have you done Berlin?
No, but I would like to do a Berlin connection. I went to Amsterdam dance event, and I thought that was intense. And I also went to Sonar Barcelona, which was also a really big one. So I've seen some of that caliber. The Berlin, I need to facilitate a crew, because I don't want to get caught in the wrong thing. I'm not sure if that makes sense, but when you go to those clubs that start at Friday and they end on Monday, you should probably know somebody.
Oh, I would think so. Yeah. Well, I just see you and Dimitri, right? Dimitri?
Yeah, I think Walter also was from there as well. There's the Brute. And then, with the Meccas being Berlin and Detroit, and I also think Medellin and Ibiza, but Tulum is going off right now. So the places that are actually moving, they're busy. And it's like, I don't know if it's just an artist or a creative thing, but we live our lives and we ask for forgiveness later. That's just what it is.
I'm going to attribute it back to your forearm again. Let's see it. Yeah, right there, representing. That's great. So
that's funny. It's like Detroit. When people say, "Where are you from?" when I'm traveling, I go like this. Like, don't talk to me.
Well, the other thing is everybody in the music, especially techno, they want to know all the stories, and you have them firsthand. And you were there for a lot of seminal events that have created the whole movement of techno in the first place. So you are a walking dictionary and a resource for everybody that you encounter, which is a great thing. So at this point, back to commercial break. What's on the horizon? Anything that you want to promote up on the horizon? I want to remind everyone again, we'll have the link for your GoFundMe page for your personal new crutches that you're working on, which is going to help you, but it's going to help a lot of other people. So I just want to put that plug in. But what about events coming up that you have in Miami that you want to put a plug in for?
So I've actually done a pivot in my career with 2020. I stopped working for corporate marketing, planning, and now with the Miami events, the painting stuff, I've sort of almost sat on it just to see how things flow, because my team and I are developing an art festival, and it's going to be in a few months. It's the weekend before Movement. We did that on purpose because we knew people would already be coming into town. We could catch the international artist. So the event is called Still Loading. It's at Beacon Park. DTE Energy provided us the space as an in-kind donation. And they've also, the Detroit Downtown Partnership has given us Los Trampos from Oaxaca. It's these interactive art installations that you can sit on. There's 8 of them. They're humongous. They're like 6 feet tall. They're in Canada right now, but with the borders where, we have a lot of faith. We hope that they come over. But we've been actively reaching out to all of these different organizations. Like, do you want to help us with a light show? Could you be volunteers for us? We're trying to knock down that checklist. It's all ages. It's free to the public. There won't be any alcohol. So this is going to be a family, community-driven space. And that's because I'm not earning. It's going to show people that what we can do, and if we can earn the caliber we can do it on. So we're taking a lot of risks with this, especially with the pandemic. But I think it's what people want. They want to see it.
I agree 100%. I think people cannot wait for this to lift, and hopefully by summer we're in a better place. So this is the weekend before Memorial Day in Beacon Park, which is located in front of the DTE building right downtown. What is that? Michigan Avenue? What is that?
I think it's Cass and Grand River. Yeah, it's a triangle, so it's you can see the whole city. It's beautiful.
Well, and that park is really nice. They just redid the whole thing, and it's a perfect place for your event, Still Loading, which is the weekend before Memorial Weekend. I also know that if anyone is interested, you have a whole tear-off sheet for what people can do to get involved, from sponsorships all the way down to volunteering. And what's the best way to communicate with you again if people want to get involved with your event, Still Loading?
Is there a way I can keep my phone number or my email address on there? It's like the best just for business folks just to hit me up directly, because I move 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. So, all right. So my email is melissa.devitri@gmail.com. And then I'm a Detroiter. So my phone number for the office, 313-784-2879. Sounds like a commercial. It's the best way, because we're just going back to back all day, just talking to people, getting everyone involved, putting them in a spreadsheet, doing the next thing. Because when you organize an event with 1,000 people, you've got to have it down to a wire.
Well, I am looking forward to Still Loading, which will be just the weekend before Memorial this year, and I think people are going to be looking forward to it as well. Melissa, thank you so much, because I know this was out of left field. It's our new COVID edition of our interviews. We usually do them in a studio in Bloomfield, and I am really glad you're here. I'm glad your artwork's in the background, that we could reference that. The GoFundMe, I'll make sure I post that as well on this interview. And thank you so much for coming on today. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me. Sending you sunshine. Sending you sunshine. Bye.
Bye. Bye.